Good morning Year 1, it's Wednesday the 10th of February today. We are halfway through our week of learning and this is your video if you have the Year 2 booklet for maths, okay? And we started working this week so far on fractions, haven't we? We've done lots and lots of work and today we are going to be working on the last question of page 18 and the first two questions of page 19. But don't worry about the page numbers yet because you don't need them just yet. Before we do that, we are going to have our learning on the board first. You will need your whiteboard and your whiteboard pen, and I know that some of you have been working on paper with a pencil or pens, so you can go back and check your learning, which is fantastic. So if you need those, grab them now so we can begin. Okay, so let's start then with our warm-up. Now today, for our warm-up, I have got 3 numbers in my circles and I would like you to find me half of each number. So what is half of the number 8? What is half of the number 12? And what is half of the number 10? Now, we've done quite a little bit of work on finding half, so hopefully you will remember that you can do most of them, maybe even all of them in your head. So pause the video and I'm going to give you 3 minutes. I think you should be able to do these in 3 minutes. That's 1 minute for each. Okay, so a real warm-up challenge, off you go, and then come back and we'll have a look together. Okay, excellent then Year 1. So, what is half of the number 8? Now remember, half means to divide by 2. Brilliant. So I'm going to pop that up there. I hope, Year 1, that as soon as you saw the word half, that's the first thing you did. You thought straight away, I need to share it equally in 2 parts. I need to share it, divide it by 2, because that is what half means. I hope that's what you thought straight away, and I'm sure it is. So to find half of 8, now remember some of the smaller numbers we get to do in our heads, and the more we practice, the easier it is. So I would like to know what method you used. Did you manage to do this in your head, or did you share it with counters, or did you get your fingers and split them into 2 equal groups? What did you do this morning to find half of 8? Let me know. So I'm going to use my fingers. So I'm going to get 8 fingers, and straight away I can see that if I make sure I've got the same on each hand and I've got 2 equal groups, I know that I've got 4 on this hand and 4 on this hand. Therefore, half of 8 must be 4. So I'm going to pop it down here with my arrow. Brilliant job. Big thumbs up if you got that one, Year 1. Moving on then to this one here, the number 12. Now, if you manage to do this one in your head, then that's brilliant, because you're thinking, oh, how can I find half of a bigger number? And there are a few ways that you could have done this if you were doing it in your head. You could have thought of half of 10, which we know very quickly, and then you could have thought of half of 2, and you could have added them together. Did you do it that way though? Or did you get 12 counters and share them between 2? What did you do? So we'll do it my way, which I've just said is finding half, so partitioning the number, finding half of 10, because 12 is 1 10 and 2 more, isn't it? So we know that 12 is 10 and 2 more, so partition it. We know that half of 10 is 5, we've done that a lot, haven't we? So we know that half of 2 is 1. So if we know that half of 10 is 5 and half of 2 is 1, and we add them together, what do we get? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we know that half of 12 is 6. How did you get that answer today? Let me know. So we're going on to the last one then. Now I know you're all shouting at the screen, Miss James, half of 10 is 5. And how do you know? Because we've practiced lots and we just know it's one of our number bonds, isn't it? Okay, brilliant. So warming up our brains by thinking of our number bonds, thinking of ways that we can partition and find the answers to these sums really easily. Well done. So moving on then to today, let's have a look at our learning question. It says, can I find quantities of numbers as fractions? Wow, that seems like a really tricky learning question, but if we break it down and have a look at what it means, it's actually really simple and we've done it lots already this week. So remember, a quantity means the same as a piece of or a section, okay? So it's like when we did our fractions as shapes, we're taking a section. It's the same when we're using numbers, okay? So all we're going to be doing today is instead of looking at shapes to find a fraction, we're going to find a fraction of numbers, okay? Now, let's have a recap. Half of a number is, how do we find it? Okay, so this is our fraction here, half. And what do we need to do to find half? Shout it at me. Yes, divide by 2. Okay, so to find half of a number, all we need to do is divide by 2. So if we see a question that says find half, we need to share it between 2, don't we? Brilliant. Okay. So, I've given us some little tips to help us today when we come to our learning. And the first one we've just looked at. So when we see the fraction half, which remember means 1 part out of 2, that means we divide by 2. Okay? And the key, the little trick which you can look at is here. This number tells us how many we need to share it by, because it tells us how many parts we need to make sure that we have, how many equal parts. Okay? Let's have a look at the next fraction. Can you remember what this fraction means? Have a think, okay? Think about the number that we can see here. Think about what we call that fraction. Can you remember? 1/3, okay? So this fraction, 1/3, is called a third. Say it with me. 1/3. Brilliant. Now looking at our number again, how many equal parts do we need to divide by if we're finding 1/3? 3. Excellent. So it's just here. So 1/3 is divided by 3. Okay, so we need 3 equal parts. Brilliant. And then the last one, a little bit of a tricky one. Can we remember what this fraction means here? It's a 1/4. So the numerator is the number 1 and the denominator is the number 4. Can we remember what we call that fraction? So we've got a half, we've got a third, and the 1/4. So when it's in 4 parts, it is a quarter. Really big thumbs up if you remembered that vocabulary year 1. It is a quarter. And when we need to find a quarter of a number or a quarter of a shape, we know that we must have how many equal parts? 4. Well done. And this is just a recap to remind you, to help you when we look at our numbers in a minute. So, I would like you, because I know a lot of you are working in books and you're keeping your learning, to write those 3 sentences down, so that when you come back to challenge yourself and think of your own sums, or if you do some more division online, on a game or in your books, you will have this to remind you, okay? So pause the board and write those 3 key facts down for me. Brilliant. Okay, so moving on then. So we know that a half we divide by 2. So we need to now think about how we are going to find a third. And to find 1/3, we need to divide by 3. Okay. So the first question says, find 1/3 of the number 12. Okay. So what's our first step? So thinking about any word problem, what do we need to turn it into first? A number sentence. You are right. So remember, if we need to divide it by 3, we know that we are going to start with 12 because that's our number, and we are going to divide by how many if we're finding a third? 3. Excellent. And don't forget our equals. Brilliant. So we've turned the word problem into a number problem. And we know that we need 3 equal parts because we're finding a third. Okay? So, now all we need to do is solve our problem. So let's think, what ways can we use to solve our problem? Excellent. We could use our 100 square and we could do jumps of 3, couldn't we? We could count in 3s until we get to 12 using our 3 times table. Or we could get objects. We could get 12 objects and we could share them into how many equal groups? 3. Well done. Okay, so how are we going to solve this problem? Let's use our 3 times table. Are we ready? 3, 6, 9, 12. How many times have we counted in our 3s to get to 12? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Brilliant. So we know that if we share 12 into 3 equal groups, we would get the number 4. So that then means, year 1, that 4 is 1/3 of 12 because 4 is 1 part, okay? So if we had 4 in each part and we had 3 of those groups, we would get to 12, okay? So you can also do it as a visual, okay? So if I had 3 groups of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I now have 12 objects, okay? We've got them in 3 groups of 4 because we've already worked our sum out. And we can see now that I have got 1 group out of 3, haven't I? Which is what a third is. So 1 group out of 3 is a third, which means that 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 1/3 of 12. And we're going to write that now as a word sentence, okay? So 4 is 1/3 of 12, okay? Now I would like you to go through that method again with me. Write it down, make sure you've got your number sentence and your pictorial, which means your visual, to help you see 1 group out of 3, okay? And then once you've done that, I would like you to have a go at finding 1/3 of 21, and I would like you to use my method again, okay? So you've got 2 word problems there to turn into your answers, finding 1/3. So pause the board, have a really good go, and then we'll move on to our next fraction as a number. You're doing a really brilliant job today, year 1, so let's keep it up. Okay then, so we've worked really hard now on finding 1/3, and the next thing we are going to do is we are going to find another fraction fraction of a number, and the fraction this time is this one here. Can we remember, thinking back to our starter activity, thinking back to our recap, what fraction does 1 over 4 represent? Have a really good think. Brilliant, a quarter. Okay, so our fraction, our word problem, is asking us to find 1/4 of the number 16. So straight away we know we need to put it into our number sentence, and we need to divide by how many if we're finding a quarter? Remembering my really easy trick and thinking of our denominator. Can you think? Excellent, 4. So let's write it as a number sentence. 16 divided by 4 equals. Okay, now how are we going to solve this one? Year 1. Are we going to count in our 4 times tables? Are we going to get objects? Are you going to use a number line? Let me know, I want to see pictures of how you solve it, okay? I think this time we are going to draw objects, okay? Now remembering, we need to share them into 4 groups equally. So I need to share 16 objects, and I need how many groups? 4. Excellent. And I need 4 equal groups, don't I? They all must be the same, so let's do it together. So I'm going to have one line here, okay? And then we'll have a group here, a group here, and a group here, because I know I need 4. Now let's count to 16, sharing them equally. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. Have I got equal groups? Check on your whiteboard. If you're doing this alongside me, have you got equal groups? Have we got 4 equal groups? Because remember, a quarter means we must have 4 equal groups. Do we have them? Yes, we do. We've got 4 in each group, haven't we? Okay. So, 16 shared by 4 equals 4, because we've got 4 in each group. Well done. So don't forget to check our learning. We can now see that we are finding 1/4. So that means we are finding 1 group out of 4. So we can see that we've got the same amount of groups left. We've got 3 left to make our whole, and we've found 1/4, haven't we? We've found 1 group out of 4. So we now know that 1/4 of 16 is 4. And I again would like you to write that as a word sentence, okay? And I will do it with you. 1/4, and remember you have got the spelling on the board to help you. 1/4 of 16 is 4. Excellent job, year 1. And I would like you again now to go through the method again to find a quarter, and then I would like you to find 1/4 of the number 24, okay? So you have got another little challenge there. Using my method, I want to see a number sentence. I want to see you're working out pictorially, which remember means visually, and I would like to see your word problem solved, okay? So 2 questions on dividing by 4 and finding a quarter. So pause and have a really good go. Brilliant. So the last question that we're going to look at today, because you have got one of these in your book, okay? And this is again a word problem. We're having so many word problems, aren't we, in our Year 2 booklet? But it's because we're getting our brains working and thinking how we turn them into a number problem. So let's read it together. If 4 is a quarter, what is the whole number? Okay, so let's write it as a number sentence. So we know that 4 is the same as 1/4, okay? So 4 is 1 part out of 4 parts. So if 4 is 1 part and we need to find 4 parts, how many times do we need to multiply 4 by? We need to find 4 parts, but we only have 1. So we need 3 more, don't we? Okay? So there are a few ways you can do this, but what you need to remember is that we are going to do the reverse now. Okay? So, if we have 4, and we know that is 1 part, we know that's 1 group, don't we? And we know to find the whole number, we need 3 more groups. Now, remember, they all must be the same. So if I put 3 more groups here, so I know I've got 4 groups, and they all must have the same, how many am I going to put in each group? 4. So let's do that, because we can solve this. Again, doing the method, but backwards. So I need to make sure I've got 4 in each group. Okay, so remember, our question told us that 4 was 1/4. And remember, 4 means that that was 1 group out of 4. So we had that at the beginning, didn't we? We drew 1 group of 4, which is what the 1/4 was. And we know to find the whole number, we needed to find the other 3 equal parts. So now we've drawn them, all we need to do to find our answer is add them all together. You're correct. So let's do that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the whole number is 16. And that is our number as a whole. So 16 equals the whole number. Okay, now in your workbooks today, I am going to show you exactly what I would like you to do. Now yesterday, you were working on page number 18 and I asked you to stop, didn't I, at page number 3, at question number 3. I didn't want you to complete question number 3 until today. So today's learning year 1, I would like you to complete question number 3 on page number 18. So this one here. And then you're going to go over to page number 19 and I would like you to complete question number 1 and question number 2. Okay? So question 1 and question 2. So you've got 3 questions today and each question has got 4 sums for you to find out. So you've got a lot of work and you've already done a lot of work with me as well. So what I would like you to do is make sure that your adult takes a picture of you solving those methods that we've just done together on the board and also letting me know how you've solved these other sums in your workbook today, okay? We are doing a really good job on fractions and remember, we've already done it before when we've gone over division. So have a really good think about going back to division and then applying that within your fraction work today. Have a brilliant day. Enjoy. It's Wednesday, so you're halfway through your learning. Lots of tricky things there today, but I know you're going to do a fantastic job and I'll see you tomorrow.